I'll just keep the Corda Lacey in the channel, if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier. Aye, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way. Of course. Jetty. I prefer a good jetty to a pier any day. Jetty?
Something about the way she says it makes you want to sing.
Oh, Jetty, oh, Jetty. It's good to see you here, detectives. I only just arrived myself.
What brings you here, madame?
Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now, so I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
That. And she's also keeping an eye on you.
Spying has such a negative connotation. I did track your progress along the coast, however, and decided I would be better able to assist you from here. Then there's the matter of that little scamp in old lady clothes. She threatened to paint the Corda Lacey red. Like blood, you see. Well, I like it the way it is. White. How do I like it?
Water drips down eaves of Eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name, all the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there? I'm surprised that woman hasn't put me to the sword yet. Maybe she will. You should ask your questions while you can.
Dark eyes survey the coast leading up to Martinez. Dull grey metal rests in her scabbard. A sword. The wind is too loud for her to hear.
Fortunately for you, madame, the RCM is on the scene.
All right, politics time. Let's react.
Oh, I'm not frightened, officer. I'd never...
Above you, there forms a quilt of alto-cumulus clouds, twisting into each other. The wind tugs and stretches them over the bay. Their cloud shadows slide over the ruins of Revachol West. Wherever they pass, the temperature drops slightly, but perceptibly.
Have I told you how they discovered this place? No, they're in Sealindian, Isala. I'm guessing you don't know then. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. I knew you would sympathize. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means. Our home. This island of matter. Or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. For now, how can I assist you in this new location?
Do we?
I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you. Maybe there is something else I can assist you with, while you're hot in pursuit? Oh?
is what you're about to say when a cold streak runs through your heart. Once said, there is no going back, Harry. Yes. What if something happens to her and you've left one question unasked? Sneaky little question escapes your eye.
A takeover? Taking it.
Green livery, changing into red, blot by blot. Like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing.
Then we're talking about a war. Everett needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this. They most certainly are not. Crenell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship.
I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Crenell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice?
What do you suggest I do? Everything affects the decision-making process, Detective.
Officer?
like the previous leaders of the Union were assassinated. I suspect by Evrard and Edgar themselves. I admit there's some poetry in the idea, and like poetry, it's also useless. There would still be Edgar. They factored it in. The Union is them, and they are Martinez. What will I do? Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our reality lowdown? It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years. The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Mundi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. Irene la Navigateur, the Queen of Suren, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds.
Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge. Like she was purging her political rivals.
There was no precedent for such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry.
Called Volta do Mar, or Return from the Sea.
The 8th expedition returned sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute. slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean.
The air is cold and scented with petrichor. There are rain circles on water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill. So does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain.
The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The mass hand proclaimed, "Lancielinde, Lancielinde," the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious, as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God.
You've thought it a million times.
A total shift in human comprehension of reality. On the second day, a great skua was shot down above the flagship Elysium. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. Four years later, the Queen's Counsellor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high. On Caillou, the Pebble, the largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later. The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinde, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain and the wings on the crest of the commune. In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-Islary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations. Gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here... There was no one but the Skua, the Liliat Seir, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain. Revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism. It is. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol.
I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen. The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you handle the situation on the ground. Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board, probably a partner.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
You're wrong, Detective. And next time, you should confer with those superiors before you go setting events in motion.
Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not. Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say.
Here I am. I am the face, and I'm here to answer. Rejoice, Leighton. Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Cronell's investigation?
The confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties. Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know, because I, too, am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich. No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola. The Volta Domar. It's used by inter-Islary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you. The bow collector. It's early in the morning. The world is dark blue. The sparks light her face, a delicate composition of triangles. The streets seem to grow longer, like in a dolly zoom. And there's something in the air as you stand there and wave back at the shapes growing smaller and smaller. Something that has always been there. A great see-through world, the tenderness you feel, the ghost of Revachol between you, carrying your signals, the holy messenger.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? What more do you want to know about that poor girl? Yes, let's hear those other questions.
On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. The bed is comforting. An old mirror. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar. Now, this makes partying look bad. Still, don't let it sway you. You're responsible. Wait. Take a longer look at yourself and how you're reflected in that slick chemical rainbow. What do you see? Metaphor. It's always metaphor. This is more important than you. That's the blood of industry you see before you. The runoff from Coal City, further down the coast. The engines of fortune once roared here. Great wealth poured into Revachol, the Delta, as did smoke, waste, sickness, life. The engines stopped. The West Revacholian industrial base was dismantled after the war. Now, extinguished coke furnaces dot the landscape, a landscape despoiled by industry. Filth. This needs environmental action now. Perhaps you could dedicate your life to cleaning it up, but you're a cop. You must concern yourself with different messes. Even so, it's pretty to think. once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow, suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay. Why? Right. How do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically.
Finally, my time to shine.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
There has to be a way to use brute force. Climbing sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break if the ladder fails. An old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotten boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the Fell building? building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions, perhaps a basement access. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder. At first, you can't make anything out in the darkness at all. As your eyes adjust, you see some trash, crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side. And nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe.
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around.
He means the pipe must be coming from somewhere in the building.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
Oh yeah, big boy time. This needs you to put your back into it. Behind the pipe, the maintenance door, rusted shut and hot. The metal doors are heavy and the flaking rust hurts your palms. But together with the lieutenant, you manage to slide them open just enough to squeeze in.
Good work. Shall we?
A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand, grains sticking to the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Yes, I can see that. Looks like some communists were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
The lieutenant does not seem to share your enthusiasm.
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers. Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. No, but you are the sensitive one.
It's not a quib. The situation is dangerous.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
I leave that to your judgment. You already know what I think about cross-pollinating information like this. It's dangerous, but...
He just can't be sure. Maybe it will yield something useful.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can...
A cockatoo is a parrot with an erect. This book talks about the delicate nature. Where to even begin? All pet owners also report moodiness, loudness. It is not recommended to get. You're right. Ouch. That must not great for them. Performing. You're right. Ouch. Not great for them. Performing. You're right. Ouch. Not great for performing. This is a yellow-tailed. Where to even begin? Pet owners also. It is not recommended to get. Where to even begin? Pet owners also. It is not recommended to get. You're right. Ouch. That not great for them. Performing. This is a yellow-tailed black. This is a yellow-tailed black. This is a yellow-tailed black. Perhaps the most in the words of poet. It must be glorious. Where to even begin? Pet owners also report moodiness, loudness, and hostility as recurring issues. If left it is not recommended to get a cockatoo if you're not able to cook them food.
Hey, was there something you needed? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember...
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. Ah, yes. The night before I saw you in the hallway and reminded you're a police officer.
The date of your re-entry into the fossil record.
Wow. Elysium. You don't hear that term often. There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I can't say. Probably not. Sounded like you were flying solo. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestrations prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
Were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on.
Then, doesn't life get hard because we go on?
I don't know about that. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of that time you were yelling along to it. Yes, there was a church in there. A really small church. Like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also, that it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Yes, it was very cool.
It's impossible to say whether she's being sarcastic or really means it.
Then you started screaming and trashed the place. A window was smashed, the tape player probably, the song stopped. And furniture too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5, and that was it. No problem, sir. I really don't know, sir. I certainly don't feel like I've won. I feel like shit, sir. All the time.
She smiles, a bitter little smile. She means it.
Clearly, I haven't. We're having this conversation, aren't we? How well could it have gone, I mean?
The wet wind, heavy with brine and industrial pollution from the stacks nearby, ruffles her hair.
I'm stuck in Martinez just like all of us. I've been up here for... I don't know how long now. I like to call this my rooftop containment facility. For my sins, of course. The long-standing sins of a bad, frivolous person. For destroying my first love. For working for bad people. The list goes on and on. I don't know what to say. None of this is fortuitous for me.
She nods, slowly, carefully even. There is suddenly a strange glint in her eyes. Not malicious, but dangerous.
I was just thinking what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. I was just thinking I really don't know.
She smiles, a bitter little smile. She,
Clearly,
the wet wind,
I'm stuck in Martinez Did I? Why do I still feel suspicion hanging over me then? What I managed was to get him killed. I understand that.
She nods, slowly. There is suddenly a strange glint in her eyes. Not malicious, but dangerous. Two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman having sex. A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside. A prime. It is possible that it came from B prime, the boardwalk. You can't know for sure until you investigate those locations. The lieutenant would probably agree that, in this situation, it's best to be thorough. A mirror hangs on the bar. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer? Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink.
Now, there's a whole shipment of big words. May mankind be plentiful, I guess.
She doesn't even understand. You asked her out. Perhaps you're too sober to pull it off right now. Try again later.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is...
Oh, yes, she does. You need to get your drink.
What? Funny. Funny sailor jokes. Sorry if I'm not laughing out loud, but the comedy has worn thin over the years.
Great. Now you reminded her of the husband. It's okay. She just hasn't figured out how these things work between the sexes. Keep at it. She'll come around.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it.
Oh, yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after...
Alcohol? Connect? I'm not sure I'm following you. That's a good impression. You really...
She doesn't even understand you asked her out. Perhaps you're too sober to pull it off right now. Try again later. Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of light reflects off the green glass of the Commodore Red. The gods have been generous. Wow, the gods of mass production have made this alcohol container laughably easy to open. A child could have done it. There's a satisfying pop as the cork jumps out, and the hair on your back rises like an army at attention. You've been here before. Welcome back, detective. You're home. Nothing. Some mental stuff. Nothing to be worried about. A golden sun melts down your throat. Its rays filling your nostrils with sunshine. Your stomach melts from it into a happy, gooey mess. So does your mind. All the bad things are melting. You're you again. A real cop. A real detective. Incredibly well done. From the void we came. Now that you've acquired some stimulants, it's time for a little pick-me-up. Time to... It'll make you into more than that. A mega cop. This is your modus operandi. See? That's your problem. A lack of confidence. Speed can help you with that. It can help you with everything. You raise the peptide bottle, press one nostril closed, and inhale furiously with the other. The rush is almost immediate. It tastes bitter and caustic, and stings a bit inside your nose. Now the taste is slowly receding into your throat. The rush is growing in intensity, your little heart pounding like a bird in a cage. A sweat breaks out across your brow. Your jaw clenches. You could work with this high. Like, literally work. Solve the case. File some papers. Maybe clean up your hostel room. Then solve another case. Then start a side investigation into the paranatural. Then build a radio computer. To this? You kidding? There are downsides to not being on it. there are massive downsides. It's a potent neurotoxin. You're turning yourself into a frayed idiot. Spring, spring. Everything is clear around you. You're ready to concentrate on the next task in the task chain.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer? The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for you.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Oh yes, she does. You
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can... Oh? Who? Well, how can I assist you then, officer?
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning...
Oh yes, she does.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she does.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she does.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she does.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
Oh yes, she.
The sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Oh yes, she does.
Either sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is...
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent. Walks are fucking great cardio. Very stable fat burner. Aerobic exercise.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it eerie and simple.
All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Charming. My man was like that too. Had to knock 2 of his teeth out to establish a good relationship dynamic. I'll see you at Land's End in, let's say, 15 minutes.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. The woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and the sun is going down. It'll be dark soon. If we stay here long enough, we will be joined by a cortege of drunks and teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. The world? Those big words men like to throw around as though they had weight. Let's just admire this piece of the world we happen to have in front of us, eh?
As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything, maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. So, are you going to keep the name? Can't wait to hear it.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun isn't always that great. Think of people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all. There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas, grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their fading opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
You would be incinerated or worse. These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them. She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun.
I always do. I like it. It's like being on another planet, a water planet, with water worries and water joys.
The wind ruffles her hair as she looks at the setting sun. Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
That it does. But then, we are also enemies to our enemies, hey? And so she shines on us. The cops and the commies, the killers and the saints. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning. An old door, worn by elements. The concrete structure looks The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic under her mountain of... Is one of those things a police cat? You hold in your hand the colorful primer. The title reads, "A primer for small kids." There's a bear involved. This book will show you the score. Get you oriented with those basic concepts you appear to be hazy on. The anthropomorphic bear will give you the lowdown of your life. The alphabet. Every page has one word designating one letter of the alphabet with a faded illustration. Most of them are scientific and cultural principles. It goes as A is for azimuth, B is for Boreas, C is for cosine, D, H is for homeboy, I is for econ, Q is for quasar. That's it. You know the alphabet.
I see you haven't left our little Martinez yet. Still running around. Like some kind of cross-country law official. Aye, but don't let it grow too much. This is not the place to settle down. Now, what's on your mind, officer? Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom. The window stands broken in its front. The bed is still cold from the broken window. The unchanged linens are only getting greasier and greasier every time you crawl among them. Like some wounded animal, you close your eyes and ask for sleep.
It's easier this time. Drifting off, your head has found a comfortable indent in the pillow. Your legs and your torso feel like lead weights sinking to the bottom of the sea, until they're suddenly light.
This respite, you've earned it, brother. Bask in the darkness. Let it swallow you up and swivel you around while you forget everything you've managed to remember. No, this is the one before that. We'll just keep cycling it for you if you don't mind. As long as we can. Spin it like black yarn.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
You're welcome, Harry boy. You earned it.
After centuries of darkness, the alarm rings. But what's this? You actually feel rested. There's no time to cuddle with your pillow, however, or as much as shiver from the cold. The world awaits.
Go. An old monument stands in the middle, a matrix of metal tubes and wood. There are no lights that spell out your name. No workers with calloused hands leering. The old king looks defiant.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
There. Working class drunk. You know what this means, right? Cracked it. All in a good day's work. What do you mean, what did I crack? Look at how working class that drunk is. Yes, and you found him. Now go and tell the working class woman. Protect and serve, recruit. Didn't she repeatedly tell you her husband isn't missing though? But he is missing. You heard her, the worry in her voice. There's no need for champagne when there's honor, recruit. Go and tell the working class woman what you found, right now.
Oh, sorry, officer. What do you want?
The door seems to be...
So, the ship has sailed. Did you see it? I know you did. Tell me, what did it look like as it grew smaller and smaller when that mainsail dropped behind the horizon?
There's a mean little light in its eyes.
Did it look like a germ? Did it look like a piece of bacteria?
His jaw is clenched and his quadruple chin is quivering with hatred. This is decades of hatred speaking right now.
You wanted us to relay all this information to her.
That this is a takeover? That I want a war? God, I hope you also told her about the drug trade. They absolutely hate getting their hands dirty with that. You can kill 1 million people, but if you do something the police doesn't like, well, then you're out of the yacht club. Goodbye, you inhuman fuck. Harry. I can't see into the future. We are all playing by ear on this planet. I had no idea she'd react so strongly. I did. I knew the negotiations would go better with police officers telling her horror stories from inside the harbour. It's scarier this way. Turns out it was a magnificent strategy. I never thought it'd so fundamentally fuck her up. No, Harry. What we have is real. We're working men. This here is real. Harry, you made a conscious decision to relay that information to her. You could have kept it for yourself. Of course she did. Rich people have the best stories about all the interesting things they've done and seen, all the beautiful places they've been to. It's just sentimentalism. She can afford to be sentimental, and she can afford to lose as well. What was always going to happen? We take the harbour and she fucks off to Ozon, uncorks a bottle of wine, calls her partners, and says they need to distance themselves from this nasty business before the big shit spinner splashes everyone. Only difference is the Union doesn't have to lose 2,000 men to machine gun fire. That it will, Harry, that it will. As to the bad taste, please, you're not a sommelier, you're a cop. You knew something big, and you wanted to see what happens when you tell someone. So you told her. Anyone who's ever been close to power will tell you, inside information is the sweetest thing in the world. It's better than money, it's better than pussy. Money only makes you special for some salesmen. Pussy only makes you special for yourself. Information makes you special for all mankind. It's the ticket to history. Right on, Harry. What you did was participate in history. When history calls, you have to pick up. You had no choice. None of us ever do. A hard disco cop like you, I knew you weren't one to resist temptation.
You know what, Detective? I am going to leave this out of my reports, and I suggest you leave it out of yours too.
Just look at the three of us. The three careless boyaderos. Good times, good times. Now we let bygones be bygones because there's work to do. For me and for you. I suppose there was a reason you came here, so let's have it. What can I help my best friend and comrade with today?
you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, on the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman, you use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the nose line. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. You almost look like a professional. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is.
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps. I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the
damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Hello, mister. Bye.
Your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
As she says the word officer, you feel a spike in the agony. It sounds like the entire radio frequency range is screaming directly into your neural pathways. No, buddy, that's not going to help. You can't shield yourself from this. It's an entirely new type of experience, way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
Really now? Check this out.
You're overwhelmed with a new surge of violent static. It feels like a blood vessel exploded in your brain.
No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing, it's the ULAN frequency. Blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She likes telling you about the machine. Keep her talking. Look for an opportunity to break loose.
The Pale? It's the end of the world. I built it myself.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Way beyond. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops, and of herself merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
Turn this.
God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a 2-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. There's only 3 meters between you and the machine. If you keep her distracted for long enough, maybe. Be careful when you make your move. That'll be it for questions. Bide your time.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised.
Her tone is bitter. She thinks she's been betrayed.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit.
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me?
Titus and his boys, man. They told us you were on the coast.
Well, fuck. Those guys liked me, I know it. If this is what happens to people whom people like...
A dull despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck did the rest of you get by? What shit? I told you I didn't do it. Sounds pretty simple to me.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon you. Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time. Look, fuck you, man. I might also have stopped by the bar.
She speaketh truth.
Wow. Now I'm curious. Please, explain. Don't know it, but also... The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
That didn't go super well. You've got to lay something better on her.
So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician.
That really comes as a blow to her. Maybe twist the knife, just in case. Make her more desperate.
Yeah, that figures. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking? Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the Union.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
There. It's going to be easier to reach the machine now.
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum.
There's a sinister note in her voice. Even with the gun and the compressor, she's afraid of you.
I considered her a good friend, yeah. I'm not following your clever insinuations, Detective. Look, I'm not aware of any hole in Claudia's wall. And if I had been, I would have told her to get it sealed. That's what— Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. That je ne sais quoi that makes it impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, for the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable.
Right on. Wrong. That kind of pussy is never replaceable.
So that's where you were going with this. Well, that's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts we didn't want to catch up with us, and we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip?
The lieutenant watches her expectantly, occasionally shaking from the pain.
Okay, fine. I was into her. Clausy was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it.
Clausia only said they maybe kissed. Someone is lying here. She touched that radiant beauty, that silver wellspring of desire.
If that's what she wants on the record, so be it. I'm not about to go into details for you to jerk off to later.
Seriously, just move on.
She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on. I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on.
No ill will there. It wasn't a problem for her.
What the hell, man? Yeah, why not? I've gotten worse. Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were. I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy. Yeah, the girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer. Go ahead, it's your body. Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Clausia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna. It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival. The view's pretty bomb too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Clausia. Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar. I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. You think I was envious of his conquests? Look, pussy's not a problem for me, and definitely not a reason to off someone.
See her confident gaze, her toned arms. Yeah, she wouldn't have had much trouble in the intimacy department.
I'm listening. And? The gun store. Trigger Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. Sure don't.
The breech loader?
No. A knocked-away 80 front loader. 2-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing.
That isn't it.
Yeah, evidence. Yeah? Where?
More questions before doing anything. She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasha comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before.
This woman has seen people OD. Glacia wasn't quite there yet, so why worry?
No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea.
She looks shaken. She wasn't surprised to be ratted out, but framed.
Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy Boys.
She lied to you about that, too.
Yeah. I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried this lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going...
She doesn't want to talk about this, but not because she has something to hide. She doesn't want the guilt.
Fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
That strange, distant fear is getting close now. It's a fear of yourself.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell, and why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals, why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the tape. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time. All of this just means that you're effective. Criminals know you and are scared of you. I don't know. Sounds pretty convincing to me.
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both. Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough.
A man in a white suit walks through a garden coaxed from soil that had once been covered in asphalt. A city block closed off from the rest of the city by dark buildings. Rows and rows of poppies, most of which have lost their pink bloom, flank his steps. The man looks around, then up at the sky, sighs. Taking out a knife, he crouches at the end of one flower bed. He scores a seapod, very gently. Milky sap begins to ooze out. The pain comes over you again.
You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry can opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
Wait, one thing, possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally.
I've faced worse.
She hasn't. She hasn't gone up against 3 armed people before, and she believed.
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claus's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while. What bunker? Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp, but I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it. Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun down. That's not the solution to your problems. You are...
Oh, yes, it is.
She's truly desperate. She thinks she has no other options. You need to give her options. You know. This is how you talk her out of it. It's the only scenario in which she lives. She stares at you, frozen, the gun still in her mouth, eyes filled with dark intensity. Then something shifts in her. Gratitude, doubt. She's still ready to go. She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness of the tunnel.
Good call. Yeah, I'm sure. I would have done the same had I not been incapacitated. I have a feeling we didn't. Her tent. We should check it out.